It's going, guys. I was just out in the garage there, and I was taking some bolts off under the car. I was actually on some suspension stuff, and instead of using the torch to heat up the nuts and all that, I use this tool, which I have. It's called a Mini-Ductor, and what it does is it uses induction heat to heat up steel. So kind of, there's a little plaque right here, kind of shows you can wrap it around stuff and all sorts of kind of neat things. So I kind of just, thought maybe I'd show you how it works. All right, well, this thing is super easy. So it just plugs into 110. It's not plugged in right now. It's got two little spots where you can put these different ends into. So I usually just kind of use the small one there. Tighten up both sides, and that's all you gotta do. Then you literally plug it in, hit the trigger, and whatever's in this little circular wrapped up coil of whatever it is, copper I guess, it heats it up with induction. So it works out pretty sweet. There's a few different tips. I just kind of got the basic kit. Some I haven't even used yet. It's got one that you can actually wrap around a few things, like an O2 sensor or something like that, and then plug it in. It does its thing. And I've done it before too. You can actually separate these and just move them apart. And you can put, like, if you want to do tie rods or something like that, you just kind of jam it in there. You can heat it up, and it heats up the whatever you're trying to accomplish. So it doesn't have to be direct fit over, as long as you can kind of get around it somehow. So exhaust and all sorts of stuff, and it works out pretty slick. So definitely the torch is faster, but this is I guess a little bit safer, especially around fuel lines or rubber or anything you don't want to melt. This literally can, whatever you're touching is dead hot, but right beside it is dead cold. Alright, so I just kind of set up, I got this brake caliper here, so this is exactly what I would use it for. It's a little tricky, I guess, doing it just kind of one-handed. But ultimately, you can bend this around, do whatever you want. So I was just going to put it over the bleeder, turn it on, little light goes on. Well, you can see it starts smoking there on camera, but it's obviously doing something. Burn all the dirt and all that off. But it'll get right red hot if you leave it long enough and stuff like that. And obviously this thing's dead cold, and it's a big piece of metal. But you can see it's doing a thing. So it works out great if you're trying to take out brake lines from wheel cylinders or or calipers or stuff like that. And it'll get nice and hot, and it comes out really easy. So I mean, I've been under this, I've used torch and all that for this many times. But this is way easier, safer, and all sorts of stuff. And then you can see this has got a little zip tie there I have just holding the brake pad in. Well, if you were using a torch, that would have been melted for sure. But that's that. So, I mean, it works out pretty good, pretty simple, and it's pretty safe too. Alright guys, so I set up a little old brake line I had there lying around, so I figured I'd put this thing on there, put it on fast motion, and show you how it gets red hot. So, I mean, it was probably running for, I don't know, maybe 15 seconds there to get it red hot there on a little brake line. So it's definitely not as fast as a torch would be, but it never runs out of gas. That's always nice. And you can use it around anything you want. Don't have to worry about anything getting too hot. So brake lines, fuel lines, wiring harnesses, all that stuff, which you got to be pretty careful with a torch. This thing wasn't cheap. I saw it at SEMA there a few years ago. I fell in love with it. I bought it. I think this kit was like 600 bucks, and just kind of was the base one with a few little different attachments with it. You can buy every attachment in the world for it. It's got different kits from small, medium, large. It's got a little mini pad there. You can use that for taking off decals and stuff. It's got a super long one, so if you want to wrap a complete exhaust around and heat it up, it works pretty slick. Just plugs into 110, so extension cord, you can get anywhere you want under the car, and you don't got to worry about anything burning down. And then the thing is, it doesn't get too hot. You can touch it after. It's not like a torch. So yeah, it was a pretty slick little unit. They sell a smaller one. Looking back, maybe I should have bought the smaller one, because this thing is kind of big sometimes. But I mean, really, you just use the attachment and you can bend it any way you want. So works out pretty good. So I recommend go get one if you need it.